Richician!
Hey YouTube, Richician84 here, and here we are. I'm now counting down my top 58 hated decks in the game. Yes, you heard me right and read the title right, 58. And I know that's an insane number, but I can't help it, god damn it. I can't help the way I feel about these decks. In all my years of playing Yu-Gi-Oh, every single one of these decks has made my dueling life a misery in some way or another, because they basically do things that don't let me play the game, like OTKs, FTKs, locks down my deck in some way or another, or is just simply a troll deck that's neither Exodia nor Destiny board. To me, these decks defeat the whole point of Yu-Gi-Oh! The point being that this is a game, and games are supposed to be fun. It's not about trying desperately to win all the time with decks that basically say you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! In some way or another. Otherwise, it's not fair. And in my personal opinion, the game would be so much better if absolutely none of these decks and archetypes existed, or at the very least certain support cards which were added to certain decks, because there are certain ones that I actually used to like, but certain cards came along and just basically ruined them for me. You'll see them when I go over them. Now, obviously, there's bound to be a lot of disagreements regarding any number of these decks, but I really don't care what other people think, because these are just my opinions and no one else's. Because with that being said, though, I don't mean any offence to anyone who plays these decks. Okay, these are just simply my thoughts and opinions, and I'm simply explaining why I hate them. So much so that I wish these decks or certain cards just didn't exist. I'm not going to go over decks that are dead, like Macro and Final Countdown, and I'm not going to go over decks that I used to hate, like Infernities or Wind-Ups, because, well, they're not a problem anymore. But yeah, enough talk. Let's get into the list. Number 58, Valkyries. Now, I know this seems a bit random to some people, but yeah, I absolutely fucking despise Valkyries, purely because Mischief of the Time Goddess exists. Now, I did already talk about that on another list, but yeah, the fact that it exists makes the deck an OTK deck, and as I've said already, I hate OTK decks of any kind. They're just bullshit and completely unfair. They just end games before they've even started. I really hate that a card exists that skips a turn, basically. It's like I said, of all the anime cards that were only anime cards, Mischief of the Time Goddess was the one that I really hoped would never get printed, and yet it did. Thankfully it's not generic, but still. Oh yeah, and there's that stupid cheap shot banish card, which got played against me. The one where I think you change the battle position of a Valkyrie and then banish a monster. Like, that's just insult to injury, that is. Yeah, I'm not too bothered about the continuous goddess spells. Well, not that much anyway. It is annoying, all the same. The only saving grace is that the deck can brick, like, a lot, or at least that's what it seems. That's what seems to be the case, hence why it's at the very bottom of the list. Now, I've only ever lost against Valkyries once. I can't remember how, and I was playing Cyberse, but even I'm trying to remember how the hell did I lose against Valkyries with Cyberse. All I can put it down to is just bad luck, I guess. But I did get revenge with the deck later on. But still, doesn't matter if it has the bricking weakness. Like, it's still an infuriating deck that I just don't like playing against. Number 57, Ritual Beasts. Yeah, also very infuriating to play against, because it's one of those few decks that plays Macro and D-Fissure, floodgates that I wish didn't exist. It's got Ulti-Gyra Pelio, which just negates my deck. Then there's that one which stops me activating anything in the battle phase. Now, normally those kinds of cards are considered love-hate cards, but yeah, it's still infuriating. Oh yeah, and the fusions are just near impossible to counter. It's like if I try and do something to them, they just escape and tag out for the materials. Not to mention that for some reason the turns just take forever. Like, I don't know why. I swear they take about 10 or more minute turns, and it's just so annoying and boring. Like, they're doing a million things, and I'm just sitting there being bored out of my mind, thinking, for the love of God, is this turn ever gonna end sometime this century? Of course, there could be valid reasons why, but it's still just infuriating. Plus, regarding negating certain effects, it's kind of hard to know what to stop, really. I mean, that's really all there is to say about it. And also, like, why the hell are they called ritual beasts when there's no ritual monsters in the archetype? Like, that doesn't make much sense to me. But just curious. Number 56, Volcanics. Purely because of one card and one card only. Blaze Accelerator Reload. Like, that card just ruined the archetype for me, which is a shame, because it's a cool classic GX archetype, but Blaze Accelerator Reload just makes it annoying to play against, because at any point the card holder can just... Well, wait, I think it's any point during the main phase. Well, okay, so any point during the main phase, the opponent can just send a scatter shot, then two other scatter shots, wipe out my monsters and just disrupt me, like whether I'm trying to do something or go on the attack. Just wipe them out and then inflict 1500 points of damage to me. It's just so infuriating. Especially when Royal Firestorm Gods just recycles them and puts them back and starts the whole cycle again. Like, even just outright destroying Reload with generic back row removal, like MST, is bad, because then they can just use the other effect to banish it, send a scatter shot to the graveyard, and just continue the cycle. Like, I swear, it's just all the deck ever does now, and it's just so annoying. People even got pissed off with it in the Dead Universe comics Raw Rumbles, because, like, I'm not even joking. Anyone who played Volcanics in a Royale would always win. In fact, it even ended up getting banned from Royales, just because everyone was getting pissed off. Now, to be fair, you could argue that there are more ways to counter it, which is true. I mean, Cosmic Cyclone can get rid of reload. There's a lot of ways to protect monsters from destruction, and of course there are monsters that can't be destroyed by card effects. This is true and fair enough, but not every deck plays them. I kind of miss the old way that Volcanics are played. I mean, we do have speed duels to do that now. I mean, it's still a cool deck in speed duels, although difficult to beat. But in the normal game, it's just annoying and not fun to play against. Actually, another out, I guess, is Soul Drain. In fact, this was one of the reasons why I wanted Soul Drain to go back to free, like back in 2015. Because rather annoyingly, it got limited in 2013, which was kind of infuriating in 2014 and 15 when this deck, Burning Abyss and Shadows, were running riot. And putting Soul Drain back to free would have helped out a lot, but that didn't happen until like sometime in 2020, I think. And I was like, great, like why couldn't this have gone back to free sooner? Yeah, it would have helped. And also Soul Drain is one of the few floodgates that I actually do like, because it helps a lot against problematic decks like that. Number 55, Shadows. I've never liked Shadows, and I never will, purely because Winder and Shekanaga exist. I mean, that's the only reason. Like, screw Construct. Like, I don't give a shit about Construct. Never have, never will. Like, that's easy to deal with. Winder is not. Like, it just slows down the game too much and is difficult to get rid of. The generic monster destruction is basically useless, and if I destroy it in battle, it'll just float for a Shadow spell or trap. It's just annoying. But to be fair, there are more ways to counter it now than there were back in 2014 and 15, but still, she's still just infuriating, even to this day. Shekanaga is no better, which is practically skill drain for special summoned monsters, or more accurately, a Divine Wrath on legs, just negating the effects of special summoned monsters, stopping them in their tracks, which is annoying because special summoned monsters are usually needed to win games, but Shek just outright denies that. But I think I'd still rather be stuck behind Shekanaga than fucking Winder. I mean, that's all there is to say about it, really. I mean, they are easier to deal with now, but still just annoying, and I wish Winder just didn't exist. Number 54, Lair of Darkness. My god, this deck is infuriating. Like, the field spell by itself is just infuriating. I mean, I don't even know why I didn't put this on my top 10 hated spell list, actually. Like, I'm not so bothered about monsters being turned into dark monsters. What I am bothered about is the opponent tributing my monsters for their effects, like whether it's enemy controller or the virus cards, which is such a cheap way to get rid of my monsters. And it's like, oi, tribute your own monsters, leave mine alone. The virus cards are pretty annoying as well. I mean, some of them I've used myself or just don't mind using myself, but they're just annoying when used against me. And they're just too easily accessible through Lilith and Trap Trick. Plus, Diabolos is a bit difficult to overcome due to the fact that it has targeting immunity. But at least it's an easier boss monster to deal with than like a negate. That's all I can say. That's really all there is to say about it. Yeah. Number 53, Gravekeepers. Yeah, Gravekeepers are just infuriating, mainly because Necro Valley, Hidden Temple of Necro Valley, and Hidden Tomb of Necro Valley exist. Yeah, it's basically just an annoying lockdown deck, just shutting down my graveyard, just like that. Not in the same way that Macro and D-Fissure do, but it might as well, considering I can't do anything with it anyway, except activate effects from beyond there, like Elemental Hero Necroshade, or Destiny Hero Dasher. That's it, really. It's a terrible matchup for elemental heroes, because it means I can't activate Miracle Fusion unless all the materials are on the field, like by some miracle. I think Rainbow Neos is like the only hero deck that can really deal with Gravekeepers, really. Hidden Temple is annoying because it shuts down special summons except for Gravekeeper monsters. And like I said, I hate cards that shut down special summons. Plus, Imperial Tomb is just annoying, just negating anything I do. It's just absolute bullshit. Although that being said, there's only 3 cards in the archetype that I genuinely do like: Gravekeeper Spy, Guard, and Curse. I mean, Curse because it's a card I once pulled from a pack and decided to play in my random deck just for fun back in 2004, whereas Spy and Guard have been really helpful in my Dark Magician deck, providing tribute fodder. But like everything else in the archetype can just go fuck itself, especially Necro Valley, Hidden Temple, and Imperial Tomb, mainly Necro Valley. Number 52, Sacred Beasts, another GX archetype that has been ruined for me by annoying cards, more specifically Cerulean Skyfire and Awakening of the Sacred Beasts, because like Skyfire just negates half my deck, while Awakening just negates the other half, as long as 2 Sacred Beasts are on the field. Like, these cards are just absolute bullshit. Like, why did they have to be made? And it's a shame, really, because, like, for the longest time, Sacred Beasts were an awesome, fun archetype, with Hamon being my favourite one, because, well, it's the easiest one to summon and has cool effects. But I just don't like that Skyfire and Awakening exist. Oh yeah, and there's the effect where it becomes a macrocosmos if all three of them are out. It's just fucking bullshit. Like, literally, if those two cards weren't made, I wouldn't have a problem with Sacred Beasts, but unfortunately I do, and like, they're just not fun to play against anymore. Like, they just piss me off too much. I mean, alright, yes, it can brick, but the thing is, like, bricking doesn't always happen. Like, that's what everyone needs to realise, and I just don't think it's a valid excuse to defend a deck, really. Like, I mean, yeah, if it does brick, then yeah, it's easy to beat, but if it doesn't brick, then it's pretty much impossible to beat. Like, same with a few other decks on this list. Yeah. This deck just pisses me off too much now, unfortunately. I just don't have anything else to say about it. Number 51. Time Lords. And no, I'm not talking about the alien race from Doctor Who. Like, those Time Lords are cool. Doctor Who is cool. Time Lords are a fucking annoying archetype. Like, literally all they ever do is just stall behind indestructible monsters and do some annoying burn damage. Like, that's literally it. Like, especially Sandion, Lazion and Camion, like, they're the most infuriating ones. I mean, yeah, I know there's one that halves life points and one that has a similar effect to Flame Wingman and Neos Wise Man, but no, Lazion, Sandion and Camion are the ones that just annoy me the most. If I had to rank them from most annoying to least, I would say Lazion, Sandion and Camion. Because Camion, to be fair, only inflicts 500 points of damage, but it does have the annoying effect where it spins a card back to the deck, and nothing can be activated in response to it. Whereas Sandion does 2,000 points of burn damage if it destroys a monster by battle. Now, you would think that that's worse than Lazion, but not really, because to be fair, it has to be able to destroy a monster by battle, whereas Lazion, you can just summon it, don't do anything, and then just inflict a grand just like that, which actually makes it a cheap game ender. Yeah, Lazion is the most annoying one. I'm not too bothered about its effect to spin the graveyard back. In fact, I don't think that's hardly ever happened, if memory serves me correctly. But the problem with Lazion is, like, if I'm on a grand or less, the opponent can just summon it, not do anything, and just end. Which is just cheap, dirty, dishonourable, and disrespectful. Like, and if that happens, I'm like, okay, nope, screw this, I scoop, I'm not giving you the satisfaction. Yeah, that's even worse than Gaius for game and Cowboy for game. Because at least with Cowboy for game, it doesn't do that much damage, and it actually requires effort and resources to do. Alright, maybe not that much, but there is still some effort to it, damn it. Whereas with Caius, you have to tribute summon it in order to do it. But Lazion just has no cost and no drawback to its burn effect. Even Lazion by itself is just infuriating. Another annoying thing about this deck is that there's been some arguments regarding how Time Maiden works, as there have been opponents who seem to think that you could special summon her, tribute her to add a Time Lord, normal a Time Lord, and then banish her to special summon another one from deck, when in actuality you can't, because you can't special summon her through her own way and use her second effect in the same turn. So I guess there has been some confusion, at least regarding the wording, which has just annoyed me a lot. They're just infuriating to play against otherwise. I think out of all the decks I have, only Dark Magician and Rainbow Neos can beat them with ease, because they have ways to easily get around their immunities and just get them off the field, like with Dark Magical Circle being one solution, Rainbow Neos' first effect. The problem is it can run Mound of the Bound Creator, which protects them from targeting, and Dark Magician does struggle against monsters with targeting immunity. So rather annoyingly, I have to get rid of the Mound first somehow, and then use Circle or even Ebon to banish the Time Lords from the field. Or of course I could just use Drowning or Storming Mirror Force, I guess. That being said though, I was somehow able to beat them with Blue Eyes and Red Eyes. I don't remember how I did it with Red Eyes, but one thing's for sure, when I used Blue Eyes, Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon helped a lot. I did also face them once with my Elemental Heroes in a Battle Royale, but I don't remember how they got beaten. Like, I don't remember if it was me, and if it was, I don't know how, or whether it was another opponent who was playing trains. Still, doesn't matter if I can beat Time Lords or not. They just frustrate me too much. Like, whose idea was it anyway to like beg Konami to make them real cards? Of course, that being said, there are two Time Lords that I kind of do like, to be fair, which have helped me, kind of, or at least would have helped a lot. And that was Meteion and the Water one. I can't remember the Water one's name, but it's the one that spins back row back to the deck, which was great because Meteion could get rid of monsters with targeting and destruction immunity, which would help against some decks, whereas the one that spins back row is actually a good out to Pendulum Magicians. Like, I think it was actually Express Gaming who suggested that to me, because at the time Pendulum Magicians were just really pissing me off, and it was something that I kept struggling against and losing against. But the Water one would help just get Time Pendulum Graph off the field and spin it back to the deck. So I guess those two I don't mind so much, but otherwise, fuck Time Lords. And that's it for this part. The first 8 of them. Stay tuned for part 2 when I cover numbers 50 to 41. Stay tuned. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the Dark Richician YouTube channel.